You're back to Talk to Harry. We are with attorney Severo Brillantes. We've got Steve Wicker, who's a victim. He's a foreign investor, married a Filipino, moved into this country, setting up a health business, and he's driven out of the very land that he owns together with his wife. Obviously, the legal maneuverings of some oligarch, the name Holos has been all for naught, but actually he still maintains the rights over everything, simply because of the power of the gun. Attorney, let me go to you. So, Steve Witter, you were not in the scene yet, because wala pa, it's still taking its course.
I entered only when it was already on appeal.
Yeah, on appeal already. Obviously,
Before
he
the
lost the
office
case,
of the,
yes.
Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources.
So the whole process fails, and they lose the patent of that property, which they legally already had in their hand. And the process was, well, it's obviously in default, pero for some reason or other, he retained ownership, and he's back on top.
Actually, in truth, the decision of the Regional Executive Director of Pagadian City
Yes.
is null and void, as I mentioned. It no longer has jurisdiction over the case because
And yet it
the
tried
free
it.
patent. So in other words, they, in actual fact, they could not be considered to have lost ownership over the property. It remains with them. It's
Maybe
just a matter of having the Secretary of the DNR reverse the
Nullify it,
decision,
yes.
nullify the decision.
But is it the problem here now, the system, the people behind it, the people who are obviously who cower under Holos, who follow him? Aren't those the people you're supposed to go after now? Those that muddle the system? The DNR guy,
yes.
the local police, the local whatever. Remember, Holos is but a power.
Yes.
He has the power of the gun, and he makes all these people cower under him.
Yes.
So it's these people now who are all subject to falsification of public documents and whatnot. Correct? Silang, they're the ones we should go after, or the same person, the man of power?
Personally, I believe that we should give the Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources the opportunity to decide the appeal. Of course, it's a different matter whether the decision will be rendered on the merits. But based on the evidence, in the arguments we have,
it's very strong.
We have advanced on appeal. Personally, I don't see any reason why the Secretary of the DNR would affirm the decision of the Regional Executive Director.
But obviously, the corruption in the local area, knowing that they have no legal jurisdiction, continued to judge on it and took it away from them. Is it possible now, even in the national government, they can do the same? Maybe this guy in DNR here now, Pahe, Commissioner Pahe or Secretary Pahe, baka he's scared of Holos too. Maybe he's under the gun as well. Is this possible?
Of course, that is possible. And we know how justice is rendered in our country. Cases are not always decided on merit. Some cases are decided based on connections, based on power. But as a lawyer...
That's awful to hear, but yes, continue.
I have my sad experiences as a lawyer of losing cases.
Yes.
Despite my client's cause is very meritorious.
Natatalo
But I don't want to prejudge the
system. You have to
the
work
secretary unless the Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources would render his decision on our appeal. Only then will we be able to say that the system, the corrupt system, continues. Or we have a person who is...
he's victimized.
Or we have a Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. If he will decide in favor of the Witters, then at least in this case, he would be able to show...
He can redeem himself and the agency.
He would be able to show that he is a person with integrity. In other words, while it is their case that is to be judged by the Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, in actual fact, they are the ones who may be judged depending on whether they would affirm a very illegal and unjust decision that was rendered by the Regional Executive Director of Pagadian City.
Steve, you're American. Didn't you go to the embassy? I read in your timeline, yes, you did, and you reported this to the embassy.
Actually, you know, that was it was a real problem because after we left for
California.
no, we didn't just jump on a plane and go to California. It was more complicated than that. We bolted, unexpected. By the time we got off the plane here in Manila, a lot of Hilosos's people had messages on the phone machine, on that thing. So they must have had me under some kind of surveillance, which I kind of suspected because, you know, there's all these people's names, and I'm talking to them. Then I got rid of the SIM card, but it wasn't that easy from there either because Reggie didn't have a U.S. citizenship anymore. She had overstayed on her green card. With a green card, you can only stay a certain amount of time.
And they're strict in immigration.
And so we had to go down there, and I told her, don't surrender your green card. And eventually, I wrote to the embassy, I wrote to the ambassador and stuff. We were here for some months in the hotel, and they let her get on the plane with keep her green card, and it was
fantastic.
Yeah, well, it was scary actually because we're getting on the plane to go to San Francisco. We don't have a visa. We just have this invalid green card, and the vice consul there said, well, you know, just try getting on the plane, and if you have a problem, give me a call. We went through the immigration. The guy kept looking at the green card and looking at the computer and looking at the green card. And finally, he handed it back to her and says, well, welcome to California. You know, because, you know, we were here on business, of course, but, you know, the U.S. Embassy, they don't always tell you the rules of the game. It's like playing cards, and they tell you, you'll learn as you go, sort of thing. And,
no, but they didn't come to your aid. They can't, or they're not allowed to.
They eventually came to our aid. They sent some guy to my hotel who asked some strange questions, and then he left. And you know, they definitely, we weren't sure. But eventually they did come to our aid. Actually, they came to Reggie's aid. I guess they treated her as a political refugee of sorts.
Right. Okay, so
yeah.
many years pass. It's now 2013, 2014. You come back and you want to lay claim on what you rightfully own. You're no longer scared?
No, that's not entirely true. You know,
you are scared.
Well, they disbanded the private army, which was
Lupad. Yeah.
Lupad. Okay, so they disbanded that after the Maguindanao massacre. They were disbanded by the. And that's fine, but they're still out there. And, you know, Romeo's still out there. You know, it's not necessarily, I can't take anything for granted. You know, I have to be aware.
You're a victim of
the
corrupt system. We're in the politician and he who is powerful. But you see, he's no longer a politician. What's sad is what I find interesting is he's got a resort open to all foreigners and to all visitors in the country when it is run by an oligarch, a guy who threatens people. I mean, how secure is that? Attorney, what is your prayer now with the court now that it's on appeal?
Well,
and what's your confidence? Where does your confidence lie?
Our prayer is for the Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources to reverse the decision of the Regional Executive Director.
That's first and foremost.
Dismiss the...
and once that's done, that's...
Now, the fact is, the people of Halosos are still
in
the property.
I was going to get to that. Yes.
So, Mrs. Witter has to file a case in court to evict them from the property.
Is the judiciary strong enough? Do they have the authority to do this?
Yes. we can file a case called Action Publiciana.
There is.
There is a if the illegal occupation was done within 1 year, it could be a case of forcible entry.
Okay.
But the 1 year period has already elapsed.
Lapsed.
The case will be Action Publiciana. They have to seek the aid of the courts so that the Halosos and his people will be evicted. Their fear before was, now we will have to go to the Pitan. And at that time, the mayor of the Pitan was a Halosos. But I found out that the Pitan Regional Trial Court is located in Dipolog City. So
What is your prayer, Steve? So you get the patents back. It's good. Now you're going to have to try and evict these crazies on your property. No, I mean, because you're vulnerable there. I mean, you could get shot.
Yeah.
What is your prayer? That, okay, you get your title back and then you evict these guys, but these guys are crooks. They're hoodlums. They're the bodyguards and best friends of this guy, Halosos. And Halosos is still your neighbor either way. What are you going to do? Sit beside him and do business together?
Well, that's, you know, my original plans are hard to do now. They, I haven't snorkeled around in the coral beds, but they put a bunch of fish traps out there and changed the zoning, and they went and cut down a bunch of the canopy trees over there and stuff.
That's
and,
horrible.
you know, trashed the place and everything else. Plus, you know, I don't have the financing I used to have.
Of course.
And so whatever I would do, it would be a humbler, modified version. But you know, actually, I'd like to live there. You know, and that's the problem. Is
My heart bleeds for you because the country, with its leadership,
yes.
and our prayer, our objective is to bring in foreign investment, people like you who want to live here, marry our people, grow old, and live peacefully, if not generate employment and investment, and yet it is our leaders that drive you away. Now, we've only got a couple of minutes left. I'd like to give you a minute. Attorney, let's assume in front of that camera is Secretary Paje, okay? Pajo or Paje, okay? What would be your message to him? Straight into that
I'm
camera.
appealing to Secretary Paje to read our appeal and to see that it is really meritorious and there is sufficient and adequate basis to reverse the decision of the regional executive director and and subsequently to dismiss the petition of Halosos. I also want to say something. Why are we before your program? It is because the Witters do not believe that the courts of justice can adequately protect them. They do not believe that the law enforcement officers can adequately protect them. In fact, when Halosos invaded their property, they filed a complaint before the police, they filed a complaint before the building official of the Pitan City, and they did not lift a finger to help them. To my mind, they are still fearful of their life and safety, and they believe that bringing this case in the open will have a deterrent effect. Will have a deterrent effect on whosoever may pose a threat on their life and safety, and it may also be a deterrent, act as a deterrence to any decision
in the future
on their appeal, being decided not on merit but on connection and power.
Influence spreading. Steve, I would like to personally apologize on behalf of the Filipino people, even on behalf of the President, for the position we put you in, the fear that you are now feeling, you and your wife. I'm not sure that will do much, but what short message, because we really have to end the show, what would you like to say to our viewers? The camera.
I would like to say that, you know, it's not just me or foreigners. I mean, Most of that public land that the DNR gave to Romeo must have belonged to somebody. And, you know, the Filipino people in Dapitan, they're in less of a position to defend themselves than, you know, I could run and go hide in California or get some money for the security guard. And, you know, they got his family there. We had 30 guys working on the beach there. They all lost their jobs. Not a single one wanted to be a witness because, you know, they said, well, can you protect my family? And I tell them no, you know. So, so it's, you know, and yeah, foreigners are at threat there. But what about just ordinary people? Even worse for them.
Thank you very much, Steve, for bringing your case. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't live in Mindanao, and you're not a neighbor, and Halosos, you probably don't know him, and he's not after your land. So we as a people, that's a problem. Poor guy, Steve. That's what you and I are going to say. But what if your neighbor next door was that ugly head, that oligarch? What if someone powerful is beside you and threatens you with your life, your family, and takes your property? What if this is happening right now to you? Are you going to run away, or are you just going to accept it? But you see, as a people, if we stand up and say, no, this is wrong, this is very wrong, and not because you're part of it or you are subjected to it, you know, you've got to take a stand. Mali po itong ginagawa sa kanila. Humihingi tayo ng foreign investor. Gusto natin pumasok ang impluensya ng ibang bayan. Pero pagdating naman dito, itinatakot ng mga otoridad. Ano ba naman to? Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Christmas gift I give to you. I know it's an irony. But the fact that I can bring you this kind of information right into your living room, I hope you understand the gravity of this situation. Now, how you're going to be able to help? Well, try to get in touch with Steve Witter, Attorney Severino Brillantes. Get in touch with us. How can we get in touch with you at least? Email. stevewitter@gmail.com, or is it Yahoo?
No, it's, oh, wait a minute. Sangha345.
I got a better idea. Email me, harrytambuhatco@gmail.com, and I'll pass it to Steve because I have his Gmail, and to Attorney Brillantes. Alam niyo po, the only way we can stop this is if you and I take a position and put our best step forward. Alam niyo, we have to act. We have to stop the monsters that are in our midst. Meantime, danger lurks for all those who go to dagak. Mag-ingat po kayo dyan. Thank you very much.
You are what you watch.